I just released the video this morning on building the bottles and cans drawers for my kitchen. I've got 3 of them, and they are, divided out into 36 cells, I guess you could say. And it came into question in the comments as to why I did them that way. Why didn't I use half laps? And I answered a couple of those comments. I'm actually getting more comments on that than I anticipated. Otherwise, I would have addressed it in the video. But it's really difficult to anticipate all of these questions when you're right in the middle of building something. And a lot of what I do, the way I do it, is you can say that there's some thought goes into it, of course, but a lot of it is almost, automatic, based on my experience from doing this for years and years and years, for years and years and years, for years and years, for years and years and years. I kind of know, like, instantly when I'm going to do something, I already know, like, probably the most efficient way to do it. Now, I can often, give it a little bit more thought and maybe refine that a little bit more. But there are things that there are methods that I throw out immediately. Like, I don't even consider them. And that was the case for these drawers and the half lap type idea. First of all, even though it seems like it's simple, cutting those half laps in so many pieces and doing it accurately so that when you put it all together, you're able to put the outside edge on it, and this will be accurate enough to fit between drawer slides that's in a cabinet that's already built. I mean, I'm working with fixed sizes here. It's really restrictive in that way. So that doesn't leave a whole lot of room for error. The other major drawbacks of cutting slots, like for half laps, is, well, first of all, my table saw, I've only got this thing here that I've got rigged up, and it can't take a dado blade, so that's out. I would have to cut it a piece at a time, like a kerf at a time, and that would take forever. And the other thing I'd be thinking about when I would be thinking about doing this with a dado stack is the wear and tear on the tool itself. I would not do it because, plywood is kind of rough on blades, and a dado stack is not cheap, and I don't want to send it out and get sharpened. I want to use it for the things that it's really needed for. And in my opinion, it wasn't really needed for this. Not to mention that I couldn't use it on this particular table saw setup that I have here. Another major consideration was for material. I didn't have enough plywood, that length, to cut enough of those things. I think there were, how many? 30 pieces? I didn't have enough of that plywood. What I had instead were a bunch of scraps of plywood that were that thickness that I could cut those small dividers out of. I was able to use a huge amount of that plywood just to make those dividers. There were 90 in total, and I used up a lot of my scrap plywood on that, and I saved the bigger pieces of plywood to cut the longer pieces for the dividers and for the sides and the front and the back. All told, those 3 drawers used up a lot of plywood, and the beauty of it is I feel good about it because I used up a lot of scrap that I probably wouldn't be able to use for anything else. Also, was my expectations for it. I wasn't looking for jewelry box standards here. If you're building a jewelry box from, say, walnut or cherry or something like that, and you've got dividers in there for your rings or whatever you put in jewelry boxes. I don't know. I never built one before. And you want to make that divider. The best approach there would be to build it with those half lap joints, because that would be worth the time and effort it would take to do that. Whereas my method of using those small dividers and driving in pins and gluing it all together like that is well suited to what I wanted there. I could have done it with the half laps. It would have taken longer. It would have used more material. And in the end, it really wouldn't have looked any different because the material that I'm using is not in any way premium. And that wasn't my expectation for that. I wanted utilitarian drawers to hold bottles and cans. You won't see them unless they're pulled open. The front will cover them up.
Burger's getting cold.
You want it?
Yeah?
There's too many trans fats.
Oh, those are the best fats.